Welcome, Julian, to the podcast. It's great to have you as my guest today. How are you going?
I am stoked to be here. You ask me questions and I'll answer as best as I can.
Fabulous. Thank you so much. Now, you've had several really fascinating careers: army sniper, magician, videographer for the big companies, and now you're the video magician. What I love most about your work, Julian, is that rather than dazzle people with your knowledge, you simplify. You simplify your content into bite-sized pieces that anyone can follow along. And I say that with hand on heart because I have been a client of yours. You've done some amazing mentoring with me, and it's really made a difference. I really love your style. So for someone who used to use the big toys and the state-of-the-art toys, how did you go from that to the realization that all we need is our smartphone?
Because the big toys have stagnated. It's absolutely true. So a camera as we know it, which is essentially a box that is hollow, and it used to have a bit of film in it, but now it's full of electronics and had a lens on the front. Well, really that hasn't moved on much. So the lens, the glass in the lens, it's about as clear as it's going to get, and the human eye can't see any sharper. And digital sensors in the back of cameras have sort of now started to plateau in what they can do. But smart devices, your smartphone, your tablets, the computational power that's going into there, the artificial intelligence, the machine learning, this is where the big advances in video are happening. And it's happening all in this magical little device that you already own. I reckon it's like a pocket-sized TV station that's at your fingertips. But at the moment, most of you are just using it to play Candy Crush, watch cat videos, and a few things like that. So there's so much potential in this little tool, and that's what excites me.
Yeah, it is the multimedia studio in your pocket, because of course there's audio and podcasting as well, which you can simply do with one of those splitter mic things and various apps. And when you were saying that, I was thinking about the last time I used my phone to make a call, and I most definitely use the camera and the apps that I've got, including my email and other productivity apps and such, use that more often than actually making phone calls.
Yeah, and look, so many people don't, because they don't have a business application for it.
Yeah.
But there are so many people in business who have already got this, and they don't. The other great thing I love about the smartphone is that you have it with you. So if you have a traditional camera set up, you've got to go, right, well, let's get it set up. Who's got the camera? Somebody took the tripod home. Oh, we forgot to put the batteries on charge. And so what you've done is you've introduced barriers between you and getting a message to your customer. Whereas you've got a smartphone, and this is a great thing. I don't have to teach you how to record a video on a smartphone. I mean, if you are listening now and you've never recorded a video, I bet you've taken a photo. So I bet you if I set you the challenge, even if you're listening, just go into your camera and work out how to record a video, you are going to work that out within about 60 seconds from now. And that's the great thing. There's no technological barrier. The barrier to using video in your business is very human. It's just the fact that humans don't like change. And we've gone all through our life without having to do this, without having to stand in front of people in a room or on a stage and talk to people. And, that's how a lot of us like it. And honestly, that's how I enjoyed it for decades of my life. But
behind the camera, yes.
Yeah, I was behind. So for decades, I spent 2.5 to 3 decades hiding behind the camera, and that suited me. I'm an introvert by nature, and it was great when I felt challenged in. When I say I was working, but in situations where I didn't want to interact with somebody, or just the social interaction got too much, it was like I could just bury myself in the viewfinder. It was like putting a big sign up that says "Professional at work, do not disturb," and it was wonderful. until I went to the other side of the camera and I realized the benefits to being
Mm,
in front of the lens far outweigh that security and comfort that I got at
yeah.
a personal level from hiding behind it.
Yeah. So the barrier today is not tech, it is confidence. It's the barrier of not having enough confidence that, we fear being judged. We fear, it's a very primal fear. And as a public speaking coach, I see it every day. And I remember when I first started my business, and one of my initial speaker coaches raised the issue of video and said, you need to make video, you need to make video. And I was a master procrastinator back then. And I would make a video and I had that many unpublished videos on YouTube because the hair wasn't right, the lighting wasn't right, the voice, you know how it goes, Julian. So they never got published. And my coach would hold me accountable and he'd say, where are those videos? Where are those videos? And I'd joke and say, it's all right for you. You haven't got to do your hair, a bald guy. And he said, you know what? For every video you're not putting out there, you are denying somebody the opportunity to learn some wisdom from you. And it was at that moment that I went, you know what? It really is not about me. I need to just make these videos. So that was really the first step. And then I enrolled in a 30-day video challenge and just kind of like banged them out. And one of your simple tips that I just love, which is just so simple, is get a Post-it note and put it over the bit that shows yourself on the phone and don't look at yourself.
Yeah. I mean, just what you've gone through in the last 60 seconds there is so much to unpack in that. But, where I think we should start on that to help people who are listening actually consider getting on video and using it. Number one, you do not have to apologize to anybody for wanting to help your customer. And if that's what they want your knowledge, your experience to help them solve a problem. And that's when we talk about using video in business, 95% of the videos you're going to make are just simple videos where you're facing the camera. It's a sort of a head and shoulder shot, and you just simply hit the record button and you speak to your customer. It might be an individual that you're replying, sending a video email back. It might be just to a small, particular type of group of customers. You might be putting a little training video up on your site, but they're very simple and it's very casual. And you don't have to apologize to anyone about how your hair looks, about how your voice sounds, because here's the thing. Your customers aren't even thinking about that. The only people thinking about that person is you. So when you're making the video and you're going, yeah, my hair, my voice, oh, I made a mistake there. You have to ask yourself, who are you making the video for? And you could probably name 20 different types of customers or clients, but do you know the one person you're not going to say is you? So it's completely, and that's the paradox. When you make videos, you're filtering and making decisions about the quality or the impact of the value of this video, yet you're the only person who should not be doing that because it's not for you.
Yes, yeah, it's definitely a game changer once you can adopt that mindset. So for me, when I got used to that mindset and I was then pushing out videos, I was making it way more complex than it needed to be. I'm relatively comfortable on camera, but what I was doing was I don't like teleprompters, so I would learn a script and I would do it all in one take. And then, of course, if I went wrong, I'd have to restart. And you taught me the brilliant scripting methodology. That means that I don't have to remember scripts. So tell us a little bit about planning a short, simple video, Julian.
Scripting, investing time in scripting video is going to pay you great dividends. It's one of the E20 skills, so the essential 20%. But the Pareto principle, find that 20% of the actions you're going to take, which are going to generate 80% of the value. And scripting falls squarely into that. And when it's say scripting, again, we go back to thinking we tell ourselves stories about what we know, and we think, oh, I saw a documentary about making a movie, and it seemed really, it had big rooms of people writing script. No, I mean, scripting can be a simple series of dot points. Scripting is simply thinking about what you're going to say before you say it, because you have to have clarity. Why do you need clarity? Because confused people don't buy. It's as simple as that. So you spend a bit of time at the start thinking, how can I structure this? If you don't know how to structure a video, then you can get some templates, some really simple templates out there. And it's make some dot points. So how am I going to open this? Let's just use an example of a typical marketing type video that you might just want to put on your social media feed. Well, you want to keep it fairly short. So you'd start off with what's called a hook. So how can I pose a question? A question is an easy way to create a hook. So what you're talking about in the body of the video, start it with a little question about, what do you know what the 3 most important things are to be able to deliver a professional looking video? That could be
it's a great start.
Yeah, and then so people are going, oh well, yeah, okay, maybe I'll watch further. If you are going to use titles, now's the time to use titles, but keep them short. And when I say short, I'm talking 1 or 2 seconds. Really short. None of us want to sit through titles anymore. That boat has sailed. So just a little branding thing, ding, and then you come up and then you introduce yourself. Hello, my name's Julian Mather, and I'm from Video Magic. And I'm here to show you how to get customers to win trust with customers, so they want to do business with you, so they never want to leave you. And in this video today, I'm going to talk about the 3 most important things you need to remember about making a video. So here's number 1. And so I'll just go into number 1 and I go, well, here's number 2. And then here's number 3. And then at the end, you want a call to action. It's pointless having the people watch your video if you're not going to tell them what the next step to take is. So it may be to watch out for the next video, because maybe you've made a series. It could be to go to your website and look for a free download. It could be to give you a phone call. It could be anything, but you tell people what you want to do. And that's all scripting is. So once you've scripted that out, and you're probably thinking, oh, that sounds like a lot to remember. You don't have to remember anything more than 1 line at a time. So when you write the script out, you get if you did it on a piece of paper, get a highlighting pen and have a look at the lines where you think, oh, I could be, the camera could see me speaking when I'm saying that line, but I'm talking about something here which I could illustrate with a picture. So we could cover you speaking with pictures. And you work that out. So it means all the bits that we're going to cover, this is planning ahead of time, cover with pictures, you don't have to remember. You can just read them off the script, because the pictures are going to be hiding you speaking it. And just knowing this, you break your script down from a whole page of video into just little bite-sized chunks. And all of a sudden it becomes very manageable. Don't worry about how to stick them together. Basic editing. And here's the great thing about editing. There's so many people out there. There's so many competing, supply and demand. Editing is actually pretty cheap to get someone to do. So record your content. Because you've written the script, it is now a step-by-step guide for the editors to follow. Send it all to them and your video's made.
So not having the technical skills to do the post-production or the editing is no excuse either, because you can outsource very simply and just focus on what you do. I think one of the things that I find, there's a couple of things that I find people sometimes do with their videos, is they might start with their question. And my favorite question is, have you ever, kind of invites people in. But sometimes people will then say, I'm going to share with you the 1, 2, 3 of ABC, but they don't deliver on that. So it's essential that you've got to deliver on what you say you're going to deliver on, rather than get sidetracked. And if you've got your script, that won't happen. Correct?
So what you've just described in classic spammy marketing terms is bait and switch. And we've all seen that where an ad.
So it's deliberate. It's deliberate, is it?
Well, bait and switch, you know, like, come in, we'll clean, like carpet cleaning, you see the ad, get carpet cleaning done for $25 for a room. But when they actually come out, they go, oh, well, that room is only the size of a toilet, right? And then, and so they baited you, and now they switch what they're going to deliver. But people do that unwittingly, when exactly what you're saying, they'll pose a question at the start because they're so worried that people might not watch their video, that they make a bad choice and they promise something in the hook, and then, like you said, they don't deliver. And that is such a problem nowadays, because trust and reputation are very valuable currencies online. Why? Because it's not who you say you are, it's who Google says you are.
Exactly.
And if you enter these practices and somebody writes a comment like, oh, like I've seen a couple of videos this person does, they always promise something and don't deliver. That's it. That's it.
Exactly.
That's your reputation now.
Yeah. The other great thing about asking the question up front is, particularly early on in our business journeys, we try and be all things to all people and we want to be liked. But when you ask the right question at the beginning of your video, you'll make sure that you get the people interested who want to be there and who are potentially your ideal clients, and those who aren't interested in your opening statement won't watch, and that's okay. I think as we evolve in our business journey, we get more comfortable with caring less about what others think about us. Would you agree?
Yeah, so what you've just described, Lisa, is known as the vanilla problem. And that is that it comes from ice creams. When we go down and buy an ice cream, you look at all the different flavors of ice cream, dozens and dozens of all these really specialist little ice creams. And we've got all our particular flavors that we like. And it's the same as when we consume media online. You'll go online and you'll go, oh, I love these funny little videos that this person does, and that person on that channel does it a certain way, and they're quirky, and I find that really interesting. Yet when we go to make a video, all of a sudden we think we have to be all things to all people. We have to go back down and become vanilla. And it's exactly what you're saying. And so you're worried about all these things, that you take away all those little things that make you. And that is the power. If there's one lesson that, if you're listening to this, you take away, in that 2021, video is not the secret sauce, you are. The power, the effectiveness of using video is just being you. And this doesn't mean making bad quality, out of focus, poor sound. We get those basics up, but people just want to see and react to you, because we're living in a time where we trust people more than brands. Banks have let us down, churches have let us down, politicians have let us down. The fourth industrial revolution and artificial intelligence is dehumanizing businesses. So we're sick of ringing up a business and speaking to a machine. We want to speak to a human. So all this marketing and interaction and communication with businesses, B2C and B2B, is going H to H. It's going human to human. And you were born this wonderfully unique human. Stop trying to be other people. They're all taken, and no one can be you. And you work perfectly. And it's not about, again, this gets back to those different flavors.
Yeah.
You don't have to be, like, when I speak, I get excited and enthusiastic, but there'll be people who see, and I know this because they tell me, there are people who listen to me and go, I can't stand the way you dance around, and I'm not for everybody. And you might have a quieter, more reflective style, and people will relate with you.
Yeah.
So it's not about being bigger and better. It's about delivering value.
Yeah, and being unique. It's so important. And it's the same with speaking. We've definitely pushed past polished, and it's all about connection rather than perfection. I mean, I was taught speaking the way where it's sort of very choreographed and very, you know, lots of techniques and lots of tools, but really it's about the message and the connection, and that's all we want, whether it is the camera or whether it is the in-person experience. So I know that you teach people to avoid all the bells and whistles and going out and getting all the shiny equipment. Would you just like to share a couple of things that we must have in terms of shooting videos with our smartphone?
Yeah,
Apart from the
number
phone, of
one,
course.
so you have the smartphone in
Yeah.
your pocket, or you have a webcam. Now, I'm not saying that's the only thing that you are ever going to use. You might have, you know, you might have an interest in photography or video. You might have your Canon DSLR camera there. Yeah, sure, go and use that. But just beware that if in a month's time, you still haven't made videos, then you're probably, technology is becoming a barrier. You're using that as a crutch. You're saying, oh, if I just get one more thing, if I get the proper light, if I get the right microphone, then I'll do it. So be aware that if you're saying that, you might want to stop spending and just grab the smartphone you've got. Put your smartphone up to eye level. Why do we put it to eye level? Take everything you do on video off into the real world and ask, would it be acceptable? Would it work there? So imagine that you were meeting someone for the first time, a new customer, and they were going to meet you in a coffee shop, and you arrived a little late and they were already sitting at the table. And you walked up to the table and you walked up really close to them. So they're sitting down and you're leaning over the top of them, towering, that they're looking up at you. So that's what so many times, and you'll see this when you go on Zoom calls, people have got their laptop slow or their camera's low and the camera's looking up at them. So what that is it's not flattering for you as far as a shot goes, but it's a subconscious power imbalance. Just like if you were in that cafe and you were talking down to someone, you wouldn't do that because it's a power imbalance. It's just socially unacceptable. You would meet the people, you would stand, and you would either sit or stand, and you have eye-to-eye conversation because that's how we do it. So you do it on video as well. So you put the camera to eye level, and then what you want to do is you want to if you're making videos, try to find a quiet location. If you're in a quiet location, the microphone that's on the camera, if it's about an arm's length away, it's going to be fine. Right? You can always upgrade and get a microphone, but to get you started, it's going to be fine. And then you want to make sure that you're not all blacked out and like a silhouette, which happens a lot when people are inside and they don't realize that they have a window or a bright wall behind them. And you know, cameras are smart, but you've also got to remember they're just almost dumb lizard brains in there. And they can average things out, but they can work against you too. So quite often you see people and their faces have all gone dark. So you've got to be aware of what's behind you. And an easy way to do that is if you've got the opportunity, turn around and actually face a window. So the bright light is coming on you. Or get a desk lamp or any light you've got at home, stick it directly above the camera lens and shine it into your eyes. But you're going to say, I don't like bright lights. Okay, I'm going to pose another question to you here. If I was to say that if you had a bright light shining in your eyes, it's going to make you look younger, how do you feel about bright lights?
Please, bring them on, switch them all on.
And this is funny. So in my decades in TV, when you work with professionals who present on camera, really funny is that you notice this happening over the years. You can have lights set up and you haven't marked a spot where they're going to stand, but they'll come in and they'll be moving around and they'll find, they know like where moths. The light is coming on them that makes them look good. And you know, it's almost like a moth to a light or to a flame. They come in and they find the position. Why? Because they don't want to look bad. So bright lights are a part of the game.
They're
just doing that, just those three things. No. And then the most important, number four, the most important thing of all is when you get on camera and you hit record, smile. We all forget to do it because everything I've just told you, I've got the light right, is quiet, I got it to eye level. Oh, was my hair right? And we're thinking about all these things. We're trying to remember what we say, and we forget to smile. And smiling is the most wonderful rapport building tool that we were all gifted with at birth, and it works beautifully on camera.
It does. And smiling changes our chemistry as well. So when we smile, we're releasing happy chemicals, and it helps to make us feel settled and more relaxed. A couple of things to add. I've been caught out by this myself many times, is before you hit record and smile, you've got to turn off your notifications, go on to flight mode or do not disturb mode. And the other thing that I learned from you, Julian, is you don't even need a tripod, because, you know, smartphones are pretty sturdy these days. You can prop them up anywhere. And even if they tumble off, as mine has done many times in hotel rooms, and it doesn't matter because they're pretty sturdy. They usually bounce, but you can prop them up many places, even with, you know, a big piece of blue tack on the window. So don't even need a tripod anymore. How good is that?
Yeah, so my favorite when I'm traveling is the takeaway coffee cup, you know, the paper coffee cups we all use. Turn it upside down so it's base to the sky, and with whatever you can find, a knife, a pair of scissors, I don't know, whatever you can find, gouge a slot. It doesn't have to look pretty, but just gouge a slot across the top that's about as deep as the end joint of your thumb. And then wedge your phone in there, and it becomes this wonderfully stable little tripod. Another thing is that if you're standing and you want to get the camera higher, the easiest way to do it is find a table and chair, and put the chair on the table and look around for whatever you can find. It might be a waste paper basket, might be books out of the bookshelf, and then just build it up, and you'll pretty easily get the stack to about eye level, where you can just prop your phone up on top of that.
Yeah, awesome. And something I know a few years ago, people used to say that one of the cameras was better on the phone. These days, is the front camera and the back camera as good?
Yeah, it's all, so it used to be that the back camera, so the non-selfie camera, the selfie camera was always the lowest quality. Now, honestly, front and back, so the back camera generally will always be better, but now it's better at a level that is so far removed from what you actually need. So to put that in context, generally I use the selfie lens. Why do I use the selfie lens if I'm shooting myself? Because it's really easy to set the frame up, because I can see myself in it. It's otherwise somehow you got to record a bit and run round to, you know, and present, run round, have a look at the recording. It's too much time. Anything that's a barrier that you put between you and making a video is another reason your video is not going to get out there, which means your competitor is going to get the jump on you. The longer you leave this, the more opportunity you're giving your competitors, because none of this is particularly hard. In your head, we've all built up this story that it's bigger and scarier and worse than it is. With people I work with, as a working figure, it's 10 videos. Between you starting and actually getting the idea that, oh, this video isn't as hard as I thought it is, it's 10 videos. That's about what it takes. Your first video, is it going to be great? Probably not, but it's still going to get the message out there. Your 10th video is going to be better. Your 100th video is going to be better again. And it just keeps improving. So it's about getting started. That's why when we came back at the start, we'll go back to there, is the problem is not technology. The problem is really just being human.
Mindset.
We don't want to do this. It's different. It's unknown. It's scary. Yeah. And I got to tell you, from someone, and I wouldn't say that to you unless I'd done the journey myself. And I've done the journey from hiding behind the camera to being in front of it for thousands of videos. And just so people understand, I started my life as a stutterer. So in my earliest memories, when I was about 5 years old, I remember going to Mrs. Fussell, my speech therapist, and I hated it. I stuttered in my youth, in my teens, into my 20s and into my 30s, until I said I wanted to make a change. So I know what it's like to have this feeling that you're going to open your mouth and you're going to be criticized, maybe ridiculed. I get all that. And I'm on the other side of that now. And I have to tell you that the stories that I told myself in my head about this they weren't true. In fact, none of them were true. None of the stuff played out like I imagined it would. So I don't regret anything. Would I go back and do things differently? No, because that experience has made me the person who I am now. But am I going to sit back? And again, this is coming back to, I don't have to apologize to anybody for wanting to try to help you. I know I can help you with this stuff. So I just get on camera and I just do these videos and I put it out there because I think it's valuable.
Because you're helping. Yeah. So, you know, it all boils down to getting over yourself, get started and make a commitment to be of service and share your knowledge and wisdom with people who want to hear it. It doesn't really get any simpler than that. And it's our mindset, it's our head, it's our stories that we tell ourselves that become this barrier. But there really is.
I will make it simpler than that, Lisa.
Okay.
Beautiful saying. Write this down if you're out there listening. Fix nervous with service. So when you're all this, you know, thinking about yourself and all your problems, when you switch it from thinking about you and your problems to being of a service mindset of helping people, it's amazing how a lot of this just dissolves away. And, you know, if you've got a perfection problem, and a lot of people have, no, I don't want to do it till it's all perfect. You know what the perfect cure for that is? Go live. So on Facebook and LinkedIn, you can now, you know, just broadcast live to the channel. It's like live TV. It's an amazing cure for perfectionism. A lot of people, it's like, it freaks people out. But once you've done it once or twice, you realize, you know, this is a whole heap easier than I ever thought. I can
It's
just
actually
be
fun.
myself.
Yeah, it's fun.
Because it's worth explaining that to your listeners, that live is different to recorded videos. Recorded videos, they need to be tighter and shorter, but live can be longer because you can actually, people can interact with you. They can send in comments and you can read them and talk about them. So it becomes a little less formal and more conversational, and you can lengthen it out. And for some people, this is brilliant because they would never make a video, but once they realize they can just get in and talk, because that's what they're good at, is talking. They can do that with a bit of a plan. You're not going to get in there and just ramble and bore. You have a few points you're going to hit, but you don't have to edit the video. And it's a great way to get started with video.
It sure is. It sure is. Well, it's been a fabulous chat. So much information, so many insights shared. I like to finish off the episode with a couple of questions. So the first one is, what is a quote or mantra that you live by, Julian?
Oh, you know, at school, they used to call me proverb boy or proverb man. I had my grandmother used to write these proverbs out for me in a book, and I just got used to using them. And so I'll tell you one of hers. I called her my nan. My dear nan, she taught me that love gives and forgives, but ego gets and forgets. And this ties in beautifully to what we're talking about, this fixed nervous with service. If you go out there with just this mindset of helping rather than this egocentric mindset, makes video a whole heap easier.
Fabulous. And a business book that has had an impact for you?
Okay, the 3-minute rule. So this is by Brandt, B-R-A-N-D-T, Pinvidic, P-I-N-V-I-D-I-C. And what it's about, he is a television producer from the USA who worked on all the big programs, big reality shows. I mean, just big programs. He's got such a stable. And he had to do pitches to sell his product and also to listen to hundreds, if not thousands, of these pitches. And he's worked out this formula that you need 3 minutes. And I love I love experience-based books, and they have to be practical and actionable. You only need to read the first third of this book, and you can go away with really a template that you can use to help any message you've got to give to somebody, to make it within 3 minutes. And so this is great for video.
Fabulous. Great. Thank you so much. We'll put all the information in the show notes for this episode, as well as, of course, how people can find out more about you and join your Video Magician courses. I absolutely recommend your work, Julian. You are incredible and you have helped me personally a great deal. So I would like to thank you publicly for your help in my journey.
It's an honor to be asked in the first place.
Thank you so much, Julian Mather.